Do a video. I'm just going to jump into it. It's January 2nd, 2020. Can't believe I'm even saying that. Time flies, guys. Time flies. Hope you guys had a good holiday. Safe one. But I'm going to jump into this real quick, okay? I'm going to give you an update on the Schumann also. But this was a CME that happened on the 30th. Obviously, you guys can see that. It was a very odd-looking CME to begin with. But, you know, it wasn't small, wasn't big. But it did light up our object right when it was supposed to, according to the 28-day orbit. Okay? Now, you know, I've learned not to be just trying to get out there first. That is not my goal, okay? Now, early on my channel, I was doing that a lot, and I was having to come back with a lot of corrections. And that's something that Scott was trying to get me to do for a while was, you know, just wait a couple days, more data comes in, you see more stuff. Okay, and that is true. I had to learn that. And so I've started to wait, and it pays off. Whenever you're the first one out there, and most of the time you end up coming back with a correction. Now, if it's an emergency thing or something that really needs to be talked about that isn't, you know, whatever, yes, we're going to jump out there real quick and say, hey, you know, this is happening. Please pay attention. But on something like this, it doesn't do us any good to try to be the first one out there. The only thing that's going to do, they're trying to get views when you're trying to be the first one out there on a situation like this. Because this stuff, even if this was coming right at the Earth, it would take it 3 days to get here, guys. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to say. 3 to 4 days. So, you know, just kind of keep that in mind, especially channel creators, you know, people that do this. Please just have some patience. It'll pay off for you, I promise. But anyway, Scott was able to catch this object in this right where it was supposed to be at the right time. Now that we've waited for more data to come in, I'm going to show you something here in a second. It's probably going to blow your mind a little bit. Okay, this is that CME. Okay, now, again, this is why we wait. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it up here a little bit and show you. This is all we got the first time. Okay, this is the same day, same time frame. All right, that's the object that was caught. But as you can see, you can't really see a whole lot of nothing else. It's because all the data wasn't there. All right, now it's there, and this is what we get. Okay, not only did our object up here was there, but look at this. That's 2 more objects. Okay, now we've been talking about this for a while. We've always said that there's more than one object out there, guys. Okay, and we had caught it before, once before, multiple objects together. Now what's really going to put this in perspective for you guys is what I'm getting ready to show you now. Okay, I flipped it over and I tried to make the coulter the same size. But what we're going to look at, this was 513 back in May. Now, if you look at this, guys, those things are the same size and they're about equal distance apart according to the other capture. Okay, they're on the other side of the sun, which would be exactly where they're supposed to be according to the orbit. All right. Now, what's happening here is, you know, I don't know that we know exactly what's up yet, but I will say this: I do think that these things are traveling together. They're probably the smaller one's probably orbiting around the bigger one, and this is such a hard thing to kind of like explain because there's so many dynamics in here. But the fact of the matter is, these things are the same size and they're the same distance apart from one another. Okay? It's easy to see that. So again, this is why we wait for data to come in. Because if we hadn't have, we would have just ignored this and just kept moving. We never would have seen this. And, you know, it was a great job. You know, Scott put some filters on this and, man, it popped it right out. I mean, my gosh. I mean, that's just something that was, you know, even for me, that was kind of shocking to see. And I look at this stuff all the time. So yeah. I mean, look at that. It's just so similar. There's no way that is not, at least in my mind, there's no way that those two objects are not those two objects also. Okay. Now, again, there's no way to 100% say, yes, that's what it is. But, again, I have to say this. We've never said there's only one object. We just said the main object is in the 28-day orbit, and it most likely has other objects with it. We've actually said that. So, here you go. There it is. I mean, wow. So, I don't really know what else to say about that. It's just crazy to me. But yeah, so we're gonna go take a look at the Schumann. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. I mean, we're gonna keep watching this, obviously. Before I go there, I guess what I'll do is there's a sunspot on this part of the sun over here now. It's coming around, and well, I'll talk about that here in a minute. Okay, guys, this is SDO. It's a satellite that sits out in front of us and always looks at the sun. It's about 1,000,000 miles closer to the sun than what we are, but it travels with us. And it always looks at the sun, gives us data that way, gives us captures, that kind of a thing. Now, what we're looking at here, guys, is this. That is a sunspot, and it's actually already active, okay? Now, I've said this before, guys, you can have solar flares and CMEs without even having a sunspot, okay? But the chances and the frequency goes way up around a sunspot. The chances of having one around a sunspot are so much greater than where there's not a sunspot. So that's why this is important to talk about. Okay? This is the 171 angstrom, by the way. So what I want to say here, and I've said this before, here's the equator of the sun roughly. Okay, and the Earth kind of sits here. Now this thing here is already spitting little CMEs and eruptions out. Okay? I could take you back to seeds and show it to you, but it's not real impressive right now, but you can see them. Okay, I don't know that I've actually seen a flare. I've actually seen what looks to be very, very small CMEs coming off of this thing. Okay, so what does that mean for us? Well, we just got to keep an eye on it because the sun rotates this direction. So when this gets here, and if it decides to have a flare or a CME, it's probably going to come right at us, or at least close to us. Okay. So that's why I'm talking about this, because it's important to watch that. Now, this is also could be a good thing, because right now we're running very low geomagnetic activity, and what that does is it opens us up to more cosmic rays to get in. And I went over that in the past also. That affects us at a molecular level, guys. It can make us sick. So they issue warnings for pilots and cabin crew, especially when they're flying in higher altitudes. Or latitudes, I should say, up towards the altitudes also, but up towards the North and South Pole, away from the equator, the cosmic rays and solar energy in general will actually get in easier, okay, because it's easier for them to come in through the poles, okay, and I've actually talked about that a little bit also. But that's why I wanted to show you that sunspot. Right now, it's not doing nothing to us. But once it gets over here, even here or whatever, as it's coming through, we just got to keep our eye on it, guys. That's all I'm saying, because it already is active. So there's no reason to think that as it gets closer to us over here, when it gets here, that we're not going to see some action from it. Okay? I'm not going to say that we are, because you just can't say that, but the chances are greater. Okay, guys, this is the Schumann resonance that I showed you guys in my last video. I was showing you, the big spike and all that. It was like a 13-hour spike, and then another one after that. That's not what we're going to talk about this time. Even though, those spikes and stuff are over with, that we haven't really seen much from it. We had a small one, a small little anomaly yesterday, and I'll show it to you here in a second. But what we're looking at here, guys, is this code thing that we've been talking about for a very long time, for at least a few months. Okay, it's this dash mark thing. Now, like I said, guys, I've sent these people emails. This is based in Russia. I even use translation software to send them an email in their own language, and I'm still not getting any response to what this could be. Now, I've said this before also, that usually silence is the loudest voice you're ever going to hear. Okay, and what I mean by that is they would be so easy for them just to say, hey, this is a tool flaw. And you know what? If they'd have said that to me and gave me some BS whatever excuse, I probably would have believed it. Because when you're looking at this, that's really kind of what it looks like at first glance until you start digging into it. And so, anyway, the lack of any kind of explanation speaks volumes to me that this may actually be something that we need to look at. You know, and I've explained how, what it would take to get a signature like that. Because this is vertical. A data point shows up vertical here. So it would have to hit that frequency multiple hours in a row just to get a dash. Okay, if you understand what I'm saying there. So, but what I want to point out here, guys, the base frequency is 7.83. That's why that line of green is there all the time. Okay, so when we see stuff outside of it, that's what we consider a spike or a lull, which would be below that, which can actually be very bad for us too. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. But look at that. Okay, so that's there. What I want you to look at, here's the Hurt level. This is back in May. Okay, this is back in, I think it was the 10th of May was this captured. Okay, that's right just past 24 hertz. We're going to call it, let's just call it 25, just for whatever reason. Okay, just for the sake of conversation here. Now, this is today. All right, do you guys notice anything? All right, well, we go down here to 24, 25, it's not there anymore, right? But look what's happened. It's moved to the 16 hertz level. So in my mind, this is becoming more and more like this is not a tool flaw. Okay? Because if it was, most likely it would have stayed down here. Okay? And it didn't. Now, do you guys see this line right here? The faint line right there, right around the 20 hertz level. That was dash marks. Okay? I didn't take the time to go back and look. I mean, you guys can go look if you need to. But that was a dash mark too. So what this thing is doing, guys, in my opinion, it started here, and I think I might even have a capture when it was here. It seems as though this dash mark is migrating towards our base frequency. Now, do I have any idea what would happen if that was to get there? No, I do not. Absolutely not. Okay? Because I don't even really know what this dash mark is. Okay? Is it a code? You know, and I start thinking about stuff, and this is crazy to even say this, but you guys remember the Independence Day movie? You know, where, what's his face? Not Will Smith, but the other guy. Found the code in the satellite system. It was like a countdown type of thing. I don't like to think that that's what's going on here, but this thing is definitely migrating towards our base frequency. I mean, and again, I've said this too, I don't think this is a natural thing that the Earth could do. I really think that this could be, it's something that is, if this is not a tool flaw, this is most definitely something that is put there on purpose by an intelligent being of some sort, okay? Whether it was us or whatever. This is not Earth doing this in these frequencies, okay, in my opinion. I have to say that because, frankly, I mean, I'm no expert on the Schumann resonance. I've done lots of research on it, and I'm doing more so I can bring it to you guys better. But that code's moving towards that base frequency, guys. And again, I'm using that word loosely. Code, okay? I just don't know what else to call it. I guess I could call it a dashed line, I guess. But it does look like some sort of code. Now, I'm going to go more into depth on a different video on this. This is just a little basic thing right here, okay? Why do they call it the Schumann resonance? Well, this is why. Because Winfried Otto Schumann discovered it in 1952. You know, he predicted it mathematically. That's what it says here. And again, it says it occurs because the space between the surface of the Earth and the conductive ionosphere acts as a closed waveguide. In other words, it's a closed system. And the roof of the closed system is the ionosphere. which I think can be, what is it, 30,000, is it miles, I think? Yeah, or 30 miles, I'm sorry, like 30 miles up, okay? But, you know, you run into articles like this, and I could read this word for word, but I'm not going to because it would take us forever. And I will do that later on. But if you guys take a screenshot, check this out. It definitely will give you a better understanding of what the Schumann resonance actually is. Okay? It affects us. It affects anything biological. They pump this into the ISS and all space craft that carry humans and biology. Okay? He found this by, you know, lightning. Lightning was actually affecting it. Okay, it would change that frequency, and he was able to somehow mathematically, that's how I understand it here in this second paragraph here. And, you know, the main frequency is 7.83. So anytime we vary from that, our bodies and our brains operate off of that frequency. That's what our body and brains expect to have. So if it's outside of that, it most definitely affects us mentally and physically. Okay? Now, you can go into whatever. So what does a spike in the Schumann resonance mean? We can get into this, and we will. Okay? But not right now. It's just, it'd make for such a long video. Let's go to this one. So, yeah. And it talks about magnetics, how the magnetosphere and all that other kind of thing, it all plays together, guys. It says right here it can make you anxious, aggressive, vigilant, higher ranges of beta brain waves to more restorative alpha waves. I mean, that's why I'm not going into it now, because this is going to get very technical, and I want to be able to put it in, well, I guess layman's terms so everybody can understand it. So give me some time on that, and I'll put together a video so everybody understands it. I'm also going to put a list of what the Schumann resonance can actually do to us. I may even go as far as to put hertz levels with that, what would happen at different hertz levels and what they see more of. But yeah, guys, so yeah, you know, it moved from 24 or 25 to 16, okay? So we're looking at about half. And it took it like 5 or 6 months for it to get down that far. So is that what we're looking at again, to get it to our base frequency around 8, which or 7.83? You know, and again, this is all just a bunch of theory right now on this, what I'm calling a code. I wish those guys over there would just email me back and at least tell me which direction to go with this. But anyway, guys, I'll come at you with another video later on, probably tomorrow or maybe later on tonight. You guys have a great week and great rest of the day. Be safe. God bless. Yeshua saves, and yeah, you can drink this Kool-Aid.